welcome to this Junior Africa Cup game, the final match day 5 game for today, where we see South Africa take on Kenya. To anyone watching from all over the continent or the world, you're going to see an excellent game of hockey here. I am Pendapala Namjebo, joined by my co-commentator.
Hi there, I'm Dylan Finch.
Dylan Finch, we have a lot of goals to expect for today's game. Jaden Brooker, a bullet in terms of the short corners, and the Kenyans themselves, you know, their captain, he's an absolute monster. They're number 42. His name is Matthias Okwaya. He is a unit, so it's going to be interesting to watch Jaden Brooker against the defense. So what do you think of these teams over the competition?
Thank you, Penda. Geez, watching the talent out there and the spirit and the fight, it's definitely going to be a big one to watch.
Absolutely, and you can see the log for this championship. Both teams already qualified. So South Africa essentially finished first for this tournament, and Kenya get a chance to play for that final ticket to the Junior World Cup, which will be hosted in India. Namibia, the other qualifying team, Egypt, they'll play against Kenya. A round-robin tournament where Kenya were actually up 4-2 against Egypt, and Egypt managed to draw that game. What do you think the Kenyans are saying to themselves against the South African team?
So I'm sure they've done their, their homework and their assessments on the players and the team, and to cut the SA players out that look the most deadly. I guess in the end you need to bring the fight. So I don't know whether they're going to start with the more attacking press, or do you think they'll hold back, Penda?
Look, when you start against the South African team, you definitely have to be cautious, but the Kenyan team are not afraid of anyone. The Kenyan team sporting the white top with the black shorts, and the South Africans in all green with the gold stripping. Once again, Jaden Brooker, the number 7 for the South African team, has scored about 13 goals from the edge of that D, from penalty corners. South Africa also have within their side 17-year-old Lita Cry, who is a bronze medalist at the Indoor World Cup. So not a team who is shy of experience. You know, the Kenyan outfit, lots of running, well drilled. We saw them against Namibia, saw them against Egypt and Zimbabwe. I don't think that they'll shy away from this game, despite the experience that is within the South African unit.
Yeah, no, definitely. Look, it's always going to be a good game, but here we go. We've started it off with Kenya starting with the ball.
Yeah, and just a note to look out for Kenya's captain, a general, a leader, Matthias Omwaka.
I definitely have heard he's been on fire this tournament so far.
All right, Brett Horn just looking to close down that play. And the umpires for today from Namibia, Sia Bonga Martin. And from the other umpire is from Zimbabwe. It's Munashe Mashoko. The co-umpire, the reserve umpire is Tamale Kenneth from Uganda.
It's always nice to have a Namibian umpire on the pitch as well. Sia does have the experience at high levels, and I'm sure he's going to keep the game calm and just make sure the game goes on 11v11.
Sachin looking for that crash ball. Just looking for Bata from South Africa. Another crash ball into the circle. Brett Horn offloads it again to Bata. Bata enters the circle looking for... good tackle there from...
Yeah, just looking for the 45 ball back, and unfortunately not getting the foot. So that will be a long corner for the South Africans. So I think they're just trying to figure out, where it went out and where to start with the ball. South Africa staying nice and calm on the ball. I hear the coach, just shouting numbers. It's obviously just making sure they have numbers behind the ball. So I think that's just lost by the South Africans there. Just a pass too much too wide, and Kenya starting with the ball again.
The Kenyan side, unfortunately, without one of their critical players, Alex Odengo. He had an injury, I think a fracture or some sort of strain from his finger. And let's hope that they don't miss him too much in the space. Calm build up. Let's see what they can do with this ball here. Into the circle with Ross Montgomery and Brett Horn with the ball. Looking for something there from the umpire, but umpire not giving away anything. Let's see what they can do here.
Kenya just nice and calm with the ball. Oh, looking to play a little mini game in the corner there, but unfortunately the ball just rolls out. South Africa nice and calm in the 4-back, just looking for that AC pass instead of the ball in the middle. Gets it into the circle. Ooh, looking for the short corner, but unfortunately just wins the long corner there.
Right, Sachin for South Africa. This is Dan Baka. Crash ball intercepted.
South Africans looking a lot to play that crash ball, not very patient at the back at the moment. Do you feel that this, could be they just want to set their mark and score nice and early?
Look, they want to test the Kenyan side, see what they have in terms of their defensive resolve and technical skills.
Yeah.
And depending on that, I'm sure they will adjust. A very experienced side, as the huge ball transferring from ball side to help side. Will they recycle? And Kenya running down that ball.
So South Africa not getting, they're not getting too far over that into the last quarter there, but attempted inside-out balls there.
Interception from the Kenyan outfit, laid off there, but look at that strong running from Jamie Seal from South Africa. And again, Dan Baka just with that ball plays it out to Sachin, he's number 20, the left back. Looking for that pivot play through the middle, and it's a great turn and play there. Let's see what South Africa have to offer. South Africa's number 2, Ruben Senzo, plays his hockey in Holland for Hardy M. Their captain, number 42, Matthias Omwakwa, plays for Sikh Union in Kenya. So as I was speaking to the Egyptian team, the Kenyan team, most but one player homegrown. How awesome is that for the union and the hockey federation in Kenya? Most but one homegrown players. That's awesome.
Sure, that is definitely awesome. I think it just brings that automatic gel. Everyone's kind of playing their hockey together throughout the year, and sure, that is definitely making the country proud, you could say.
Absolutely. Kenya pulling out the white and black strips for today, looking really nice and clean. Okay, South Africa restart.
Just outside the 22 there.
Palay to Dembaka. Dembaka now plays it all the way out to, who was that? Oh, it's now on to Brooker, Jaden Brooker.
It's a little mix up there on the right hand side where the ball went out. But it remains Kenya's ball. They're looking for the big overhead, or?
Sure. They like to play that overhead just as a pressure relief, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do. And look at that transfer. It's a huge transfer here.
Big one across the park. No one within 5. Sure.
But surely that ball is going out of play, but umpire allowing the game to go on. Let's see what Kenya can do. Another transfer goal. Much better takedown there.
I guess that said makes it a little bit more challenging at night, but when you're under, that much, you've got that much time, it should be alright to handle, but he handled the second one well. South Africa carry on playing, looking for the quick attack, but they come down the left hand side with SS number 20, Odero. South Africa's number 20, Sachin. My apologies.
That's okay, it happens. All right, Brett Horn now leading the attack there. It's not Brett Horn, it's Jamie Seal, excuse me. Jamie Seal with the ball. Trying to combine with Montgomery, but the umpire just signals for a Kenyan ball, sideline ball. So Kenya qualified just because Egypt beat Zimbabwe at the death. If Zimbabwe had just beaten them, it would have spelled a different story for them. But they're able to...
South Africa entering the right-hand side.
Beautiful defensive work, surely. Short corner. And here we go. Line up. Or cue Jaden Brooker. If he's on the field, he'll surely want to test the goalkeeper for this one.
Let's see what the South Africans will do on the first one. Has been looking like two very strong castles throughout the tournament.
Yeah, look, Dylan, my money is on Jaden Brooker. He's doing his routine and his sequence. Brett Horn just for the push out there for South Africa, and the Kenyan boys just lining up to run this down. They are strong runners.
And fast. Let's see if the push is good. Push looks good.
Oh, good save there from the from the Kenyan goalkeeper. Oh,
some tough clearance there, and they win the ball.
Look, it's straight at the keeper, but in the end, you only do the work that you're asked to do, and
100%.
We can't fault him too much.
Yeah, for sure. I think maybe the first one was just going to see what their running lines are going to be like. Just put a flick on the box. But in the end, well done to the Kenyan defenders and the goalkeeper at first.
Absolutely. The captain for the day, Charles Ashimhundu. Ross Montgomery wins the free hit for the South African outfit. If you're just joining us here at the Junior Africa Cup, this is the final game of match day 5. South Africa entering Kenya's circle, facing Kenya in a non-positional game, but definitely serves as a warm-up or an appetite teaser for what's going to be happening in tomorrow's action. Kenya will take on Egypt. South Africa take on the host nation Namibia. Kenya with an opportunity to seal the final ticket for the Junior Africa Cup. Patient build-up here from Kenya.
For sure, definitely is a little, as you said, a non-positional game, but definitely a warm-up for tomorrow. And I guess the teams playing tomorrow, I think they'd be testing a few things out and just making sure they get what they need to get right for tomorrow. Then.
Absolutely.
South Africa with the ball deep in their half. It doesn't look like Kenya's keen for too much pressure right at the moment. But at the running game that SA is playing at the moment, good little pickup there. And
that's good running from Cry. Just deemed to have illegally tackled his opponent there.
Just a little shave on the back stick, but in the end, it was a good attempt. South Africa then again with a big pressure, right up.
Surely that's dangerous there, but was he 5, Dylan? South Africa restart the play. Cry with the ball. Cry finds Neerhoff, the captain. Cry again. He'll probably recycle the ball and look to transfer the play. Pillai for the ball with South Africa. Den Baka, poor trap there. Kenya with an opportunity to lead the counter-attack. It's Mungai Gideon with the ball. He's not shy of goals. He's got the goal in the tournament. Wins the free hit for the Kenyan outfit. I really like the kid that they're having, and just throws Brooker right off his feet, that number 42. So he was the captain, and maybe just a tactical change there in terms of handing over the captain's armband for this game, because everyone's aware that the initial Kenyan captain is so dangerous, and Kenya break the deadlock. What a goal from this Kenyan outfit. I told you they will not be shy, and Bamra puts his hand up, punches the air. He's the one. He says, I'm the one who tipped that in. What a goal against the run of play. What a goal there for Kenya.
That is definitely sensational. I was going to say a little bit earlier when they got the ball in that quarter, I was going to say, watch out. They're quite dangerous up there. And look at that beautiful ball across the D. And you got 2 players jumping in there. I want my hands on this. And in the end, beautiful team goal. And Kenya go 1 up versus South Africa with 5 minutes to play in the first quarter, ladies and gentlemen. This one's going to be interesting. Let's see what South Africa reply with.
So, as it stands, Kenya leapfrogs Egypt to go 3rd. However, all 4 teams have already qualified for the next phase of play. Look at that. Kenya's efficacy, 1 shot, 1 goal, 1-0 to Kenya. 4 circle penetrations versus 1. But South Africa will not panic just yet. They'll be patient. Pillai on the ball, shifting the defensive team. Pillai finds Mentur. The umpire points for a short corner, and surely now Brooker will have an opportunity to level the play. Carlon Mentur with good 3D skills there. Dylan?
Wonderful 3D skills at the top of the D. I think, that's what you expect in the last quarter. And in the end, maybe a little bit of ill discipline from the Kenyans, to let that one go. But let's see what South Africa have here. We've got Jaden Brook at the top, Castle 1.
And that will be Carlon Mentur, who won the short corner for South Africa, looking to inject it. The importance here is the speed of the injection and the quality of the stop to give Brooker the best chance possible to put this away. Let's see.
Whistle goes.
Push out is good. That's a stop.
And a wonderful save.
No, that came off the body. That came off the body. That came off the body here.
For sure.
They're trying to plead their case. And let's just see what the umpires will confer here. The umpire's just discussing. Oh, and that's a hit out for the Kenyans.
Decision overturned from the other side. I think the other umpire was maybe in a better position to have seen that one.
He was glove.
Perhaps going against the glove. All right. Well, once again, brilliant Kenyan defense from a wonderful.
Oh, look at that!
From a wonderful flick, but an even better save.
Absolutely, good stick save there. Good stick save. So it's a long corner for the South Africans, and maybe coming off the foot there. That's what they're calling, because maybe coming off the knee, and it should probably be a re-award, but the Namibian umpire just saying long corner.
Long one out for South Africa. I think there's still a little bit of confusion on the park, but in the end, umpires made his call. You need to look up and carry on going.
Yeah.
Time has resumed. South Africa just coming around with a 4-back, but looking for the big one, opting not, and just going out to the right-hand side. Is he seeing the man in the corner? He's got him.
Oh, good skills there.
Wonderful
from
skill.
Trying
Sticks
to
are
run
flying.
through it. So Matwele looking, and that's not. Ooh, just plays it out wide. 16 for the Kenyan outfit.
Good individual skill there to take them on the baseline, and I just think looking for the ball across the D didn't work out as planned. But the Kenyans coming with a quick play on to the overhead right past the halfway line and almost feeding his man in the corner.
Absolutely.
But that is one thing of most of the African sides, and especially Kenya, hard running, fast hockey, with that turnover, getting a long man in the corner there, it's always going to be dangerous. But then again, laying very deep on the defense.
Then back on the ball, so Kenya seem to be trying just to see out this quarter and hold on to their lead. Brooker. Dan Barker. Playing his captain there, Neuhoff. So patient build up, and once again the South African team probably not yet pulling the panic buttons, just being patient. Let's see what they've got here. It's a Lita Cry in the pocket for the Kenyan pocket, and Pillay looking to win an advantage there, and it's a crash ball, short corner, and the umpire signaling there, and he's probably going to have a word with the Kenyan. Oh, it's a double penalty here. It's a team penalty and a personal penalty. So Kenya down to one man. 2 minutes to think about what he's done. And South Africa with another attempt to probably put this away. Will they have a variation or just another one?
So I do think that they're going to back Jaden Brooker on one more. It's the last time it was unlucky on the save. But I would back him again, give him the third one and see what he can do with it.
Let's have a look.
Let's see whether SA can reply in the death of the first quarter.
The push is good. Oh, good.
All right, and going the same route, and this time getting his penalty flick.
Yeah, this time into the body, and we'll just have some time there. These defenders are always so brave, putting their bodies on the line, willing to take that for their team. You don't want to see a player getting injured, but once again, when you see them putting their body on the line as a teammate, you're always proud of that,
Yeah, for sure. You definitely, you always say you play for your teammates, and it's one thing taking the ball on the chest there, or was that towards the right shoulder, but wherever it is on the body, if that's painful, and you always do feel for the guy, taking the hit, but it's always wonderful.
Okay, Carlon Mentua has put his hand up here. And he said, I'll take it, coach. I'll make it 1-1. Let's see what Carlon Mentur can do with this ball. Umpire just giving out his instructions. Where is he going? Left?
I think he'll put it to his left. Flicker's left. Let's see.
Oh,
Oh,
so unlucky with that.
that's very
What
unlucky.
I'm applauding more the attempt from the keeper than the goal. That
Yeah.
was good reaction time from the keeper. Unfortunately, too much power on the end of that. South Africa won. Kenya won.
Most definitely. He read it so well, you know, and it's unfortunate, like you say, for the keeper there. He actually got to stick to that.
Got a solid stick to it too, Dylan.
Unfortunately,
Right.
you can see he's a little bit livid with himself, but let's see what the Kenyans reply with a long overhead into the left corner. Oh, unfortunately, just a few meters in front of the strike he's trying to reach there.
Gideon Mungai unable to bring that overhead. The power that these Kenyan players can generate in terms of the distance, that's about 40 yards, 50 yard overhead. Just impressive. Then back on the ball for South Africa. Long slider pass, and it's a slip. Let's see what they can do.
Sneaky little pass through the legs there.
And another short corner for the South Africans.
So I do think ball just lifted a little bit high in the circle, making it dangerous, and South Africa getting their fourth short corner.
And that's just what the umpire signaling there. So the umpire signaling that the ball lifted up over Kenyan stick and made the play dangerous. You know, the umpire's responsibility is player safety, and if a situation gets too dangerous, he has to use his whistle.
Yeah, no, definitely.
All right, let's see what they can do here. Damien Knott on the push out. And let's see if they will either use Christ Castle or Brooker's Castle. It's nice to have so many options, isn't it, Dylan?
Most definitely. You know, if you've got 3 or 4 guys that can flick from the top, and they, yeah, definitely gives you the upper hand. Let's see what they go for here. Push goes a little bit skew.
They've made a meal of that. They've made a meal of that. What can they do? Can they second phase of the short corner?
Ball goes across, and actually Lita Cry just, I think, tapping it past the near post there. Well, you know, they'd made a meal of the push and the stop, but I guess in the end, almost getting a shot on target, you know, that's kind of what you want, just to improvise and make the most out of the opportunity up there. Big overhead coming once again. I mean, that's from a 22 to a 22, Penda. That's quite some way, and takes on the one-on-one here, and unfortunately loses that.
Deemed to have used his body and unfairly winning advantage there. Ooh. Yeah, that's a fair call. So
Stick just grabbing his arm.
Tabang J just grabbing the stick.
Kenyans playing.
Sorry, South Africa just trying to up the pressure there, but Kenyans playing very well. Good combination play, Dylan.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say now, you know, that quick play inside-outside ball, and the ball's within 3 passes, it's in the corner, and it's lovely to see with just under a minute left with the score 1-1.
Ruben Senzo, good jab tackle there.
Definitely a good jab there, just to win the free hit out on the far left-hand side, and they've opted for another overhead, and unfortunately lost out to the South African defense. I think, will South Africa look to keep a little bit of ball possession here, or you think they'd look to see whether they can go one up here?
Look, it's the last 20 seconds of the game, so just crash ball, trying to get it up the circle as fast as possible, but not too much pressure. They'll probably regroup and try and go again. And that horn signals the end of the first quarter. 1-1 Kenya. Against all odds, they were probably going to expect a South African onslaught and bombing here, but again, maybe the South Africans just saving their legs for the encounter against the Namibians tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I definitely do agree. Kenya coming out and shocking the South Africans with scoring one early, and but South Africa have replied, and in the end you've still got 3 quarters of hockey to play, and it does come down to the team that can bring out the most fire early in each quarter.
Absolutely, and just some scenes from the first quarter here, some highlights from the first quarter. Brilliant flick there by Jaden Brooker, but the keeper was up to it. And here we go. Here's some action for the goal. Just look at this. Players this is what you're taught. Get in that near post, get in the second post, put your stick in the way, and hopefully that you get a deflection. And look at what it meant to the Kenyan outfit. Very happy with that. A good run and a nice ball, nice and flat. That's also what you want. Absolutely, yeah. They should be proud. Goalkeeper probably a bit unbalanced there. That's why he ends up on his bum. You want the keeper to be a bit on his feet for as long as possible, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think firstly, if the keeper was just standing up straight for a little bit longer, it would have been different. But in the end, well played from Kenya. And I do think you've got two guys diving in at the ball. That's commitment once again for your team. And in the end, clinching the goal early on.
Absolutely. And look at that flick there from Montour. Once again, so disappointed. Disappointing for the goalkeeper not to get to the end of that. He got a solid stick on it. And to be fair, you expect him to make the save.
Most definitely. I mean, he's gotten the stick to it, and not even just it was a full stick to it, and he would have thought he should have done better there.
Absolutely. We can't dwell on past mistakes. Kenya with an opportunity to, or with the chance to go ahead of Egypt. The score is still 1-1, but they must win this one. Kit Garner for Kenya on the ball right now for the pushback. The umpires, just a reminder, Siyabonga Martins from Namibia and Munashe Mashoko from Zimbabwe. Huge aerial again, taken by Dembaka. Dembaka plays in his captain, Neuhoff. Intercepted there.
Just closed down on the right-hand side there, but looking to take him on one-on-one, and he actually ends up winning it just outside the 22 there.
Wasonga's done well for his country there, winning the ball back, but just look at that pressure from the South Africans. Just shifting the ball. Matthias on the ball here. He plies his trade at Sikun and just asking for his options. He's such a general. The captain's armband given to the number 25 for today, but he keeps leading, and this is one of the good things that you want to see in a team, that you're able to, look at that, Kenya into the circle again, and that ball just out for a long corner. Making sure that you've got lots of leaders in your group and you can rotate through the captain's group.
Definitely putting a lot of pressure on the South African defense there again from the baseline area, getting a ball in. But in the end, well done to the South Africans to get it out there. But the Kenyans do come out flying.
Looked like an illegal tackle, but umpire says nothing in it. South Africa win the ball with JAC Tabang. Tabang JAC from South Africa.
South Africans just looking to play quickly down to the right-hand side there.
Ball just rolls out of play, and it's another defensive hit out. Brett Horn unable to get to the end of that one. The running channels between Brett Horn and Ross Montgomery just could not get to the end of that ball.
So you see, it is it's quite weird how the one team, which is South Africa now on Kenya 16, a lot of pressure forcing them to throw that overhead because they're so positive that they're going to pick up the ball again. But let's see what happens with this one. Onto a Kenyan stick quite quickly.
Trying to get those 3D skills in there. Maybe just using the stick to shield. But Noel wins the ball for the Kenyans. Not 5, but crash ball into the circle. Keeper clears. Keeper deals well comfortably with that ball. And it's JAC Tabang again with the ball. South Africa launching a counter-attack. Brett Horn on the ball now. Bata rolls it over here. Who's that on the ball? Looks like that's Jamie Seal. Jamie Seal on the ball, but intercepted easily there by the Kenyans, and the counter-attack comes to nothing.
So it's always quite amazing how quickly these boys get up to the circle. From being deep in your half, in your circle, actually getting the ball off your keeper's pads and making a great counter-attack into your circle in the other side of the field.
Absolutely. Look, I've had one look at these boys, and I know that I no longer can keep up with them. That's why my stick will stay hung up. But they can carry on the mantle. Sachin now on the ball with South Africa, looking for options. Dembaka.
Looking for that long ball once again, but Kenya's doing so well to just close them down on those long balls or actually read them.
Yeah, it was a good interception from Wasonga. Unfortunately, he just couldn't keep on to that ball, and I suppose that is then the next phase of play. Once you make a turnover, you have to hold on to the ball. Here's South Africa again with JAC Tabang. JAC Tabang looking to use his skills, trying to look for circle penetration on the baseline. South Africa looking for a short corner. Unfortunately, they lose out on that one. That's good defending. Look at that again. Matthias Omwaka. He's not wearing the captain's armband, but you cannot take a leader out of the man. Commanding his troops.
You definitely won't miss him at the back there. He's always involved, always taking the free hits, but in tackles he's doing very, very well there at the back.
Absolutely. Look at that. He throws those. Look at that bomb. The spectators just dodging there. Spectators just dodging those bombs from Matthias Omwaka.
Yeah, it looks so effortless, I guess. From your 22 all the way onto the halfway line. That's some way. South Africa just with the ball at the back here.
Denbaka. Sachin now. Patient build up. Just trying to gain some ground on the Kenyans. Crash ball by Damien Knott.
Oh, well pick up
Jay, good pick up there. Ball lifts from the Kenyan stick, but it's deemed not dangerous. Sachin.
To Denbaka looking for the big ball. He likes those 45 balls all the way through, you know, to kind of cut it in 45. But South Africa still with the ball here. Out to Sachin nice and deep into the Kenyan half already. And unfortunately,
that's right onto a stick there. And good defending work from Wesonga. Very good disciplined work there. Just making sure that he's staying in position. And that's what you want. Defender nice and low. Force the players to use their aerial skills. Denbaka again on the ball.
So this is some serious pressure from the South Africans. You see Denbaka, their centre back, you know, 5 or 6 yards into the Kenyan half, just looking for the ball deep into the corner there.
Yeah, look, Dylan, they are applying good pressure, but in the end, they might be playing into the hands of the Kenyans. For as long as you're throwing those overheads and we can turn over the long balls, that's what we want. So keeping the ball is not necessarily the end of the game. Maybe playing into Kenyans' hands a little bit here.
Yeah, definitely agree with you there. Oh, he's done well to control that, not letting it touch the body, and a good
Wesonga.
jab.
Look at that, Wesonga. Good performance. Get in there, son. Wesonga breaks into the circle. Is he able to get an outcome from here? Oh, absolutely
Sit on the
brilliant.
foot.
Look at those hands there, Wesonga. He's proud of that. He knows exactly what he's done. Good work. Short corner, Kenya. Can they make it count? I know that their captain will be licking his lips and trying to make something come off this.
Most definitely, I think he's been waiting for that one. And the first of the night for the Kenyans. Can they take a lead again in the very first half
Look at this, Dylan.
of this game?
Look at
This is beautiful
And
work.
that is just lazy defensive work. You have to be nice and low, protect your feet in the circle. Of course, when you're up against opponents who've got such quick hands, you can't always fault the defender, but you want the defender to be a bit lower there and protect his feet.
Yeah, let's see what the Kenyans can do with this.
Push
looks
out is good. Oh, great save there from the keeper. It looks like it might be Versimo in goals, but we'll just have to confirm it. It is actually Versimo, number 27 for South Africa.
South Africa come away with the ball quite quickly there, but just a tackle to go, you know, on the outside. But South Africa running hard with the ball here through the middle. We've got Denbaka just looking to push them back a little bit.
Interesting point there. Jaden Brooker just switching from the left wing to the right wing. I wonder if that's a technical issue. Maybe the coach finding that they've got too much access on the left-hand side.
Yeah, you know, it could be that you're taking a guy out that's, you know, he's running that role of his on the right-hand side, but then in this case, you know, they want to kind of load the left-hand side maybe, move the player over there and, you know, see, depends on what you're thinking at the moment.
Let's have a look. Huge bomb again coming from that Kenyan player. But this time picked up, it's a turnover. Jamie Seal couldn't control the ball. He wins the free hit.
Listen, South Africans definitely coming with the ball quite quickly here, but some good hands there by Tabang. And South Africa just going into their half.
Jaden Brooker plays the ball long. And that will be a short corner. Player is not standing 5. You know, at this level, especially at this stage of tournament, these are rookie mistakes, and you should know that once that ball is played aerial, if the player's already in that space, you have to back off, allow him the space so that you don't concede such soft, short corners, and you allow a player like Jaden Brooker, Ross Montgomery to test your goalkeeper, and you don't want that.
Most definitely, especially not when this game means that much to you. You know that as the defender, you know that is that's the rule, that's the way the game is played, and you're gonna make. I think it's rookie mistakes, but could be kind of a lack of concentration at this stage. But South Africa with a push out. Ball goes to Brook.
Umpire just calls for reward.
So that would be a reward there. I think I couldn't see what the umpire was giving that for.
I think he was signaling that the player didn't have a mask, but it's not a specific rule, is it, Dylan Finch? Umpire just signaling that the player didn't have a mask on, and so he's rewarded a short corner. We'd probably have to inquire later on, but here we go. Jaden Brooker. Oh, what a save! Stand up, son. Stand up and be proud. What a save there from the Kenyan goalkeeper.
That
Brilliant.
was spectacular. I mean, he knows he's going to the left the whole time and taking it out on the right foot. That is spectacular.
Goalkeeper there for Kenya, Arnold Nyakongo. Again, South Africa with a short corner. The Kenyans are not happy with that decision. They're just asking for confirmation, and they have that ball turned over. Co-umpire. That's the brilliant thing of having a co-umpire. He has a different field of view and can just correct those decisions. Could have cost the Kenyans here, but trouble is not over yet.
Yeah, South Africa's still up there, and jeez, again, these guys, you see, you're speaking about it earlier on, Penda, is just stick on the floor, protecting the feet, especially with the rate that these guys, dribble the ball at. You need to protect the feet, and well done there from the Kenyans again. They really are defending well tonight. We have the shots on target here of South African boys, 4 shots at goal, with the Kenyan men only 3. We have the circle penetrations, South Africa with many circle penetrations, and we've only had approximately 20 minutes of play gone by. Possession, South Africa just edging out the Kenyan men at 60% to 40%. And penalty corners, South Africa with a 5 and the Kenyan men only 1. And Kenya not being able to go ahead with that one they had. But with the Kenyans deep in the South African half, let's see where they can get the ball to. Or they're looking for the long ball. They do get one down into the corner.
Oh, that's a dangerous ball into the South African circle.
Very well managed.
Tabang J on the ball there, and they're just caught in the corner. You don't want them to foul, just hold them there and keep them there. But let's see what, good skill there by Neuhoff, but he loses the ball. And Kenya break into the South African circle again, but the umpire, quick on his whistle there, just allows the South African unit to breathe a sigh of relief. Dembaka on the ball to restart this new wave of the South African attack.
Yeah, the Kenyans nice and sneaky with an under-shoulder pass, if I can say, just on the backstick, looking for that foot. But in the end, then, well done to the South African defense. And they come here with the attack.
Ooh, a bit dangerous. Ooh,
it's gone their way as well.
Yeah. Umpire just asking the ball to be moved a little bit closer. It's a quick ball out by Lita Cry.
It's a good awareness there of that gap, as soon as he placed the ball, just giving it into the corner. But they do just recycle and come out with
surely crash ball coming here, but Pillay decides to delay.
South Africa going out nice and deep, but then Baka here looking for the ball inside, and unfortunately just can't reach another green and gold top at the baseline. So I do just hear the South African coach on the right hand side speaking to the players about keeping their shape, and that would just be certain areas you're playing with certain shapes, your format up front, and I think maybe 1 or 2 guys just not in the positioning. That's the coach kind of calling, keep your shape. And
that's good skill to eliminate the South African there.
Oh.
What can they do?
I think that was very well read by both umpires, just understanding that South African player slightly took out the Kenyan player without the ball on his way to the ball. So this they free it, which goes crash ball. And just picked up by the South Africans. Going down the left-hand side here now is that Lita Kra on the outside, and a big tackle coming in.
It's a huge tackle there from Matthias Omwako.
I think very well calculated there as well, because if that hadn't reached some ball, there would have been a little bit of trouble there.
Absolutely. Patient build-up now for the South Africans. Dembaka.
So I do understand that South Africans have been told to kind of keep the ball a little bit longer. In the first quarter everything was going quite quickly down to the circle, but I think they've just realized that they need to hold the ball up a little bit longer.
Good run there from Oliveira. Senzo looking for a foot, looking for something to happen. The Kenyans are able to defend this. That's good work there. Good work, absolute good work from Hilary Kwalima from Kenya. He should be proud of himself, able to just draw a foul there and allow his teammates to launch another attack. A huge overhead there. They're asking for the 5, and he's a bit disappointed that there's a turnover. That's the unfortunate thing when you throw an overhead. You make a ball into a 50-50 situation and opportunity for turnover.
For sure, definitely. I mean, in that case, South Africa won it. You've lost possession there. Whereas the ball on the floor, which is not always the option there available, but it is almost guaranteed to get to your player.
Jamie Seal with the ball. He's being harassed by the Kenyan players there, trying to use his 3D skills. Nice squeeze pass. And the Kenyans just trying to get out of trouble there and crash ball down the line. Oh, it's getting a bit aggressive here. Bamra with the ball.
He's done well there just to put it on the foot. And, like you're saying, it is the aggression is coming out a bit. The boys are looking to hit that ball up there. But I think also a little bit of agitation there at the back bender could just force these... but these things happen. It is under 21 men's side. So
Absolutely. Kenya trying to restart and recycle, rebuild. Huge ball down the line. Just backs off. Oh, should have just... No, but... Oh, that is a bit harsh because the South African player actually played the ball into the Kenyan foot there.
Yeah.
What do you want the player to do? That's a bit of a harsh decision, but maybe the umpire had a different view, so we can't judge too much. Maybe he had a different view and a different interpretation of that action. South Africa get to recycle play again here through Dembaka. Okay, Damian Knott with the ball now for South Africa. Offloads it. Here's we go. Matwele on the ball. Matwele finds, that looks like Lita Cry. Lita Cry wins the free hit for South Africa. Runs the ball into a Kenyan player again. Lita Cry. Crash ball. Long corner, South Africa.
The Kenyans do somewhere or other get a stick to it. Good crash ball down, looking to go across the face of the D, but long corner for the South Africans.
What is impressive about this Kenyan outfit is the game against Namibia and South Africa. I think the score was something like 4 or 5-0 already to the South African team at this stage of the game. So you can just imagine, the work.
Lita does very well to keep a control of the ball.
You can imagine the work that the Kenyans have been putting in here just to keep the South Africans at bay. 1-1 here, the final game of day 5 at the Junior Africa Cup in Windhoek, Namibia. Brought to you live by NBC Sport from the Dave and Trusco hockey fields. It's a nice, cool evening. The local time here in Windhoek, Namibia, 19:39. And what is the weather? It started off hot, but it's a nice, cool evening now. The local weather here, 19 degrees, nicely clear skies. Another huge overhead there.
Definitely from inside your half, almost past the baseline there, But, geez, that man can throw an overhead. And we have the end of the second chukka, meaning after the first half between Kenya under 21 and the South African men. Tensions are rising here, Penda, and I can tell you it's going to be a crack of a second half.
1-1 between Kenya and South Africa, and you know that... Dylan, the third quarter, that's where all the action is. The third and fourth quarter brings all the actions. And talking about action, you can see the highlights from the first half there. Great save again from the keeper. He was asked to do a job and he's done so. And the Kenyans with the resolute defending. And here's the goal from the Kenyans again. Beautiful flat ball into the circle. And we just get someone there ahead of the goalkeeper. Once again, goalkeeper finding himself on the floor. And against all odds, the Kenyans took the lead.
Yeah, definitely. Very good ball in, getting a stick to it. And goal is a goal in the end. Taking the lead there early on. And I think they would have felt at this stage, They definitely were one goal up. But South Africa coming at them nice and hard with a few short corners, which actually does imply quite a bit of pressure in the Kenyan circle. But good P flick here. But I think would have been an even better save there. Getting to it with a full stick. And unfortunately, just popping in the back of the net.
Every time I look at that, flick, that stroke, Dylan, just feel so sorry for the goalkeeper. Look at this, another attempt, a centered ball. Unfortunately, the Kenyans just couldn't get to the end of it, and it's just about being hungrier for the ball, getting ahead of your defender.
Yeah, most definitely. Another one we see here going in, giving this keeper, an easy outlet, putting some pressure on, getting a dive in again perhaps. But South Africa replied with some very nice, baseline attacks. Very good defense from the Kenyans there.
Absolutely. Look at that skill. Good stick work from the Kenyans, and I've been very surprised by the level of skill. Look at that.
That is beautiful. Another lovely flick, but an even better save, I must say. You know, looking at going into half-time here, the Kenyan goalkeeper for me is definitely looking to be man of the match, depending on the end of score. But in my eyes, he's the man that's been pulling out the saves and keeping Kenya in the game.
He's definitely been keeping Kenya alive to this one, and it's unfortunate that we don't appreciate the South African goalkeeper because he's not being tested as often. But you know, he's also been doing a great job. However, it can be argued that the Kenyan goalkeeper really having his skills on exhibition here.
Yeah, no, for sure. As you said, you know, it's just that the more shots were taken in the Kenyan circle.
Yeah, and here the first half statistics. Not too much in it in terms of possession. I was discussing with Trevor the other day that usually the one who has possession and makes use of it in terms of circle penetration and shots usually wins the game. 5 corners to South Africa, making the circle penetrations count for something to get those short corners. And nothing too much in it in terms of shots. 3 shots compared to the 4.
Yeah.
So,
most definitely, you know, just making sure that when you're getting into the circle, you get something of it. Should be or you know, penalty corner or shot at goal. And at this stage, you know, South Africa with a higher amount of circle penetrations, but the shots yet again at goal, you know, being quite equal.
All right, as the teams just do their final adjustments for the halftime, we will also take a short break and get back to you with the action. There is the table as it stands. South Africa about to break their perfect run. Top of the log still, unbeaten, but they may not go into the next phase of this competition with 100% win rate. Kenya 1, South Africa 1 here at the Junior Africa Cup, brought to you live by NBC Sport from David Trusco Hockey Fields. So we'll take a break and get back to you with the action after a few minutes.
Every team huddle, every kickoff, every scrum, every tackle, every sidestep, every try, absolutely everything rugby. Absolute Rugby. For the love of the game. Wednesdays at 7 p.m.
Welcome back to this final clash, match day 5 clash between South Africa and Kenya at the Junior Africa Cup, hosted here in Windhoek, Namibia, live from the David Trusco Hockey Stadium, brought to you by NBC Sport. If you've missed any of the action over the course of the tournament, you can always catch it again on the NBC's YouTube channel, which is NBC Sport NA. You are joined by Pendapala Namjebo and my co-commentator,
Dylan Finch, and ready to take us away. South Africa playing in green and gold from left to right with a score standing at 1-1. Penda, what do you think the third and fourth chaka has in store for us?
Look, the third and fourth quarter usually bring all the action, all the drama, cards, goals, tears, blood, sweat and tears will all go down here. And I'm sure South Africa will want to retain their 100% record. Kenya in their change strip, white and black. Let's see what they have for us. Not on the ball for South Africa.
South Africa coming out, not passing the ball all the way back, just into the midfield, letting the ball put a bit of pressure on them, and then restructure with the ball going to the left-hand side.
There's definitely a change in intensity and speed from the South Africans. Den Bakker on the ball for the South Africans, and Neuhoff now looking for weakness. Just testing each other. Look at this. Crash ball again, intercepted by the Kenyans. And this looks like Kit Garner for Kenya. And there's a turnover here. Mentor. Oh, what a last-ditch tackle there from the Kenyans. You were thinking that he was in there. Kenya with a counter-attack.
Yeah, definitely. I thought he was gone through for the shot there. But we have Kenya on the far side again, not getting the pass to a fellow, white kit up there. South Africa just look to play a little mini game in the corner there, get it out quickly, and they come with some speed down the left hand side. Cry just decides to hold it up, and a quick switch around to get the ball going down the right hand side here for South Africa.
Neuhoff under pressure, but he wins the free hit for South Africa. He turns strong. Beautiful ball there, Matwele. Matwele on the ball. He's looking for a free hit for his team.
I think he does just find the foot there, just outside the 5-yard dotted line there. And let's see what South Africa come up with here at the top. All players to move 5.
Ball is brought out. South Africa just trying to roll out and draw back the Kenyan opposition. Den Bakker. Just a patient build-up now for the South African. Troughing, looking, waiting for the Kenyans to show weakness.
South Africa with a lot more patience that we see here, and I think it's just more to play the structure that they have here with a 4-back, just troughing the ball around, looking for that opening, but doesn't seem to phase Kenya's press too much, but a little ball over could
It's a
be
huge
dangerous.
ball to Neuhoff in the circle with a shot, and South Africa goal ball scramble there. Oh, the umpire just comes to the rescue here, and free hit out for the Kenyans. Umpire just asking the players to cut it out, and surely that is now the last warning for all the players. He says, none of that. Our umpire, Munashe Mashoko from Zimbabwe, joined by his co-umpire, Siyabonga Martins from Namibia.
Definitely a good shot there. He actually got the shot off quite well there, and getting a touch onto the goalkeeper, but nevertheless, we have Kenya up in the circle, and unfortunately the ball just cut out very nicely by the South African defense.
Interestingly, Kenya seem to have made a change of goalkeepers. Some argy-bargy here. Let's see them play. Matwala.
Kenya are picking up loads of these long balls coming in, and
there's going to be some action here. There's going to be some action there. Ruben Senzo might be in trouble here with the umpire. Let's see what happens. The umpire's just called him over. Umpire shows Ruben Senzo a yellow card. I'm not sure if it's Senzo or actually we'll wait for the confirmation here. It looks like it's Lita Cry who's running to the bench, so it might have been Lita Cry who received the yellow card there.
Yeah, just tackling from the back, they could always prove dangerous, or you're going to get a stick to the body, or, missed tackle, misjudged tackle brings you a card. And it just looks like the two umpires, just the umpire with the two captains, just pulled him over, and I'm sure he'll just be asking them, cut it out, let's keep it clean, and carry on forward.
Look, I told you, Dylan, the third and fourth quarter, all the action, all the tears, all the goals usually come around this time. So let's see. Kenya with a one-man advantage for about 5 minutes. It might prove to be a very interesting last few 5 minutes for the South African outfit. Seemingly unbothered by the one-man disadvantage. Jamie Seal for the South African unit just trying to launch a counter-attack. He's strong on the ball here. Eliminates and cuts inside. Oh, sandwich between two Kenyan players.
He is definitely giving it his all there, beating one. And so it was Lita Cry just with a confirmation on the yellow card there for South Africa. But as you said, unfazed. Penda, they're coming out with fire and, just moving the ball quickly. They look to go to the left-hand side of the field there with the ball into the top D, but yet again cut out by the Kenyans.
Wesonga looks to take on Jaden Brooker. Huge overhead, and it's trapped successfully. Kid Ghana pushes it forward to Bamra. Bamra, the goal scorer for Kenya. What can they do here? Kenya just looking to keep them in the pocket there. This looks like Matwele on the ball. Wins a free hit, showing his experience there. So this South African outfit have a lot of men's players who've played at the highest level. Lita Cry, Brooker, Den Baka. All of them very, very good experience and seasoned players.
Most definitely. I think Lita Cry coming from the World Cup, the Indoor World Cup this year. Good to see, a player that is able to play national colours for indoor and outdoor. But as you've said, there are many players that have been in the setup at the highest level, and it proves to show on the field out there. We have South Africa going into the corner, looking to have a little bit of hands.
This is Bata. Bata wins a free hit for his country. What can he do with the ball? Crash ball into the circle, but umpire blows for a foul, just saying that the ball didn't travel 5 before it moved in the circle. Sometimes players do try their luck and move it probably 3.5 to 4 meters and then crash it in there. But at this stage of competition, you trust that the players would not really give away simple free hits like that.
Yeah, for sure. I think, and there is so many times that it happens that he's taking that advantage, and the umpire's waiting for the shot or the goal and actually misses it, and then it's not good. But at this level as well, the umpires out there know exactly what they're doing. Two experienced umpires once again from Namibia and Zimbabwe, just controlling this game very nicely, I would say.
Absolutely. And they've given the players ample time to get their discipline and behavior in order. And you will feel now that these small mistakes will be punished. Sachin restarts the play for South Africa to Dembaka. Dembaka fakes for the long ball but keeps it basic. Sachin on the ball now again for South Africa.
So you see even Kenya being a man up, they are sticking they're almost not even pushing past their halfway line,
Yeah.
Letting SA almost run onto them, but long ball just going into the South African stick.
And purely on a hockey perspective, Dylan, it's a little bit disappointing that the team doesn't try and maximize the advantage. However, you don't want to be caught on a counter-attack by such a well-drilled South African unit. The way they run their lines, they will catch you on a counter-attack if you overcommit. So maybe just in the back of their minds. Here we go again. Ruben Neuhoff for South Africa wins the free hit. Quite frustrated there. And again, temper's just flaying there.
Yeah, Kenya's putting it all out there as well. Just a loose ball onto his left back, looking to come at Brooker here with the ball, just keeping it going to the left-hand side. I think that looking that is their strong side. And a long ball in just gets cut out by Kenya once again so nicely.
It's good composure here from the Kenyan team. And I must say, all the teams over the course of tournament, that's the nasty one there.
So was that a rogue over just taking the South African player out there? Don't think it could have been too bad. He's up and running into the circle.
And just good sportsmanship there. High fives all around. And Kenya almost at the end of their advantage, and nothing to show for it.
Yeah, as I said, they haven't really had the ball in this time, but as well on defense, they haven't been too rushed, which is maybe just what they're doing, is laying back and waiting to intercept that ball. But South Africa come out running again. South Africa just keeping the ball.
The reaction from the Kenyans, they probably thought that the blow was against them until they saw where the umpire's pointing to. And it just shows the emotions and what it means for those players. They want every call to go their way. But once again, good umpiring there.
Yeah, that's quite nice. Look at them just enjoying the small wins. Just think they'll hold the ball as long as possible, but then again you want them to kind of get the ball into their circle, being one man up.
Absolutely.
You saw the man run in front of us. You're looking for that ball in the corner, and it's well trapped. Can he do something with this?
Jay very strong on the ball there, and let's see how they can. I thought they'd won the long corner here, but unfortunately not. Jaden Brooker with a huge bomb down the line, plays it to Brett Horn. Brett Horn trying to find and make a connection with Ross Montgomery. Unfortunately, doesn't work out. Noel plays the ball out to the sideline. It's now Wesonga. And it's Noel again with the ball.
That's such nice skill there with the pressure and just putting it on the player's foot. South Africa just calling there, Ross Montgomery just calling there for the showing that it is his glove, but call has been made and Kenya's free hit. Very well played from the Kenyans there. That is very clever, and just going down to the floor, but the umpires nothing at it. Just resume with another free hit for Kenya. Look at that big overhead once again. This is their game tonight, and they managed to receive the ball.
Look, I think one of the big differences that I've seen in terms of the use of the overhead when we contrast the men versus maybe an earlier game, Namibia, versus their opponents, South Africa, is that the overhead here is probably being utilized a bit more and less turnovers.
Yeah.
You just want to make sure that the high-risk balls have a higher turnover, and if not, then you probably want to minimize that. Play to your strength.
Yeah, most definitely. You don't want to be throwing them all over the place, but I think Kenya have decided to go with it here.
Dangerous play then. Bata on the ball now.
Road ball there.
Ross Montgomery on the ball, trying to use his aerial skills. They say it's a bit too high.
Umpire agrees with that one as well. It did look quite high from here as well. And are they looking for the big overhead again into the left corner? And they're going to the right.
You can bet that they're playing that ball. Umpire blowing that a little bit early, but I think blowing that a bit early, maybe.
Yeah, I think blowing it a little bit early, but again, the way he's interpreted it, maybe, two guys running at full speed. One guy just needs to get a touch off the ball and he makes it dangerous. So perhaps, trying to stop it before it gets, gets to the danger part, but perhaps he could have let it go a little bit longer.
Okay, Sachin on the ball now, and this is Brooker. Let's see what South Africa can do. Damien Knott intercepted.
Good little pickpocket there and put onto the foot.
Pickpocket. Kwalima Hillary, good running back there for his team, and that's what you want as a defender. Your right forward or right link drawing all the way back, making sure that they're running down those balls and applying pressure to the strikers. Brooker steps in for South Africa.
So it's kind of, I think South Africa's also laying a little bit back now, just knowing that those overheads are coming. But Kenya come with a solid
Kenya with the attack here.
Can he put it onto his back stick?
Gideon Mungai. And the crash ball into the circle, and we're just holding your breath, waiting for something to happen there.
Most definitely exciting times in the Kenyan circle. They do manage to keep the ball on the outside, and that's, and they almost make the one out of, the one chance they get it in the last 2 or 3 minutes. They kind of make it work.
Absolutely. Tabang Tabang J, good hands there. Loses the ball again.
Kenya win the free hit in the corner as well. And 4 South African green shirts just staring at him, waiting to come. And here they'll kind of double team him here.
Ross Montgomery, very strong
Very
there.
well.
Plays his hockey at Marty's, Stellenbosch. Ross Montgomery. Good tackle there. But the Kenyans are strong on that. Stays on his feet. Shot at goal. Goalkeeper parries it wide for another long corner for the Kenyans. Lots of action in this third quarter of the final game of match day 5 here at the Junior Africa Cup. Brought to you live by NBC Sport from the Davin Trusco Hockey Fields. Our umpires for today, Siyabonga Martin from Namibia and Munashe Mashoko from Zimbabwe.
We have Kenya coming up with the ball again, just pushing it to the left back and him deciding to give it through. Are they looking for that long ball in the last 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes?
Yeah,
and
dangerous. It's dangerous, just slightly lifted. Maybe South Africa just struggling to come up with a solution to the Kenyan defense, you know?
Yeah, and I think they should start looking at that tactic of giving the overheads all the way through. But here they come again, and Kenya just closed them down.
Intercepted again.
I think the rate of interceptions in this game has been quite high. From the long balls coming from South Africa, but also the overheads coming from Kenya. But
Gideon Munai, Bamran now leading the next wave of Kenyan attacks. They're charging through the circle. He's taken. He's tackled. And the South Africans thought it was clean, but the South African Brett Horn running straight into the Kenyan player there, but umpires probably allowing advantage. Let's see how Kenya can recycle this play.
Very risky tackle there indeed, but Kenya managing quite well here.
There's another long overhead. Brought down well. This is Pele. Pele on the ball now. Mentor wins the ball. What can he do with the ball? Leaves it, runs off. Sometimes you just use your experience. Not too much pressure.
Give it over to Brooke in the back, and just a small inside-out bounce ball back to Brooke here near the screen, and he decides to go one-on-one.
Brooker gives and keeps his run forward. Another interception by the Kenyans there.
This is a little piece of hands there.
Indimuli has been just showing his skill there. He goes by Azeze in the back of his shirt, but Indimuli, number 6, Brian Indimuli, back of the shirt, Azeze. I quite like this this Kenyan kit. It's a change from their red, but it's a nice color. It looks clean. I thought they'd leave it for the third, fourth playoff, but maybe they're trying it out to see how it looks.
Yeah, definitely. I do agree with you. Nice plain white and plain black. Combined kit definitely does do them good tonight. Just the bench calling it for dangerous, and we have the end of the third quarter between the Kenyan under-21 men and the South African under-21 men, with 1 apiece going into the very last quarter here at the Davin Astro in Windhoek for the Junior Africa Cup.
Dylan, what are you saying to your boys if you're the Kenyan coach?
So I wouldn't mind, giving it all, throwing the kitchen sink at it in the last, 15, going hard, press nice and hard, and especially on the counterattacks. But as well, keep the defense nice and clean as they have. The interceptions have been phenomenal for them, and it's worked out well. So I think a bit more pressure and just keep it positive out there.
Absolutely. Some of the action that we've seen in the third quarter there, a shot there by the South African captain. And look at this, 3D skills, and Lita Cry just getting into a bit of a stick tangle with his opponent. And look at this. Brings it down, and he's under pressure against 2 South African players. But just look at the determination from the Kenyan player. And look at this, the monster, the captain. Oh, that was lucky. This is what I was saying. It's a bit lucky because he took the player out there, Ross Montgomery, but umpire showed him some grace.
Yeah, it is getting more and more physical, and I don't think it's going to die down at all into the fourth quarter here. Umpire's just whistling for the start here, and quite a play right there. Took a shot at goal. Keeper had to make the save there, and just some nice individual skill we've been seeing here tonight from both teams, Penda.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kabir just not coming away with the ball there, and I think they did win that free hit. And look at the lovely 3D skill, just not grabbing onto it in the end.
Right. Ruben Senzo with a hit back. In the last quarter of this final day, match day 5 clash between South Africa and Kenya. We've had lots of action during the course of this tournament. Thank you to NBC for broadcasting and allowing families from all over Africa and all over the world to get in on the action. South Africa here with the counterattack. Hopefully that they can make something come of it. And
this is
the
where
Indians interrupt.
This is where the Kenyans get quite difficult, the quick counterattacks.
Absolutely. Right, quick restart, but the ball is intercepted by Wesonga. Kid Ghana now for Kenya. Good use of skill to eliminate the player. What can he do? He's running wide on his backhand. Oh, Jaden Booker with the... that's the correct call there. That's the correct call. This is stick obstruction. I thought the umpire's whistle was a bit harsh, and I just thought it blown in favor of the Kenyans, but stick obstruction there from Kid Ghana, and a good steal in from Jaden Brooker.
Yeah, and that's also where the experience of the two umpires come from, just seeing that, Kenya almost was celebrating there, for the short corner, and it just gets given. But South Africa on the return here.
Pillai,
nice
good one-handed run. Oh, Koma scramble. Whoa. Good use of his skills there. Let's see if he can try and win the ball back.
These Kenyans are running it out the back there with some flying sticks from the South Africans. And
look, Charles Ashmunde has been a valiant servant to the Kenyan team tonight. Really strong in terms of carrying that ball out from the defensive line. Little risky when you carry and run the ball from zone 1 into zone 2. You're always at risk of that turnover. But he's obviously got confidence in his own skills. Matthias Omwaka, long, huge, and it's a mistrap from the South African captain. Kid Ghana with an opportunity to crash it into the circle. Free hit to Kenya.
So you just see the Kenyans running at 5. They're looking to hit it in, but actually just making sure he wins the ball again, just closer to the 5-yard dotted line there. The bench is also quite exciting to hear from here, Penda. Calling shots from the side and just making sure the guys are each marking a man, and some very, getting stuck in their tackling there from the South African gentleman in the corner.
Absolutely. The pressure intensity, you always want your players to be performing at 100% intensity and to give that quality. But here we go again with this new phase of play. South Africa trying to be patient, trying to keep to their team principles and ideas of how they want to execute this ball. It's Denbaka again on the ball. Missed pass. Kid Ghana picks it up for Kenya. And this is Wasonga. Wasonga plays that overhead, but Jaden Brooker easily picks it up. Tries to launch a counter-attack on his own. Plays it inside. 1-2 play between Pillai. And here's offload there by Brooker. This is much smoother work from the South Africans. That was seamless.
That was smooth. No, I do agree with you. But look again, this quick counter-attack. We've got a 1-on-1 in the corner here. And he goes 3D.
Oh, that is a good tackle.
That is a beautifully calculated tackle there from Denbaka. Just waiting for that moment to kind of make sure you can see the ball, grab the ball, and just put it on the foot. That's outstanding.
Of course, the risk is always a short corner, but he did very well to time that. Okay, South Africa now with an opportunity. Let's see what they can do. This is Ruben Senzo for the South Africans. He wins a short corner, very easy, showing his experience there. As mentioned, Ruben Senzo applies his trade in Holland for HDM.
Sure, it's always very good to see guys at this age, playing top-class hockey on that side of the world. And I'm sure it does show, as you said, just getting the ball, taking on 3 players, actually looking up, not knowing that there's not another player on, and just making sure that you get the short corner, and to see whether we can have Jaden Brooker, number 7, at the top of the D, with Lita Cry accompanying him with the 2 castles, and let's see who will this go to and who can put it back in the back of the net for South Africa.
I think Jaden would like to...
It's an early break there, so to those that would not understand that call, if the Kenyan defensive player or any defensive player in the short corner breaks before the ball is pushed out, then it is a real ward and the player has to go beyond the halfway line.
Unfortunately to the Kenyans, it's their general, Matthias Omwaka, who was too early to break there. What does this mean in terms of the Kenyan defensive running line? Let's see. Jaden Brooker hoping to test himself against Odijo, the replacement goalkeeper for Kenya.
Looking to and it's put it wide.
No, it's just off the crossbar there. It's off the crossbar, hit the post and not. Oh my goodness, smart play there from the South African captain.
That is unfortunate. He had done so well to just, kind of weave through them onto the P spot.
Was waiting for the net to bulge there.
And he's put it on the post. That is incredible.
Oh, look at that. You can see Ruben Senzo just laughing at the irony of that. You do everything right to eliminate the player, and the last bit of action, puck!
Yeah, it's always frustrating. He done so well to get into that position and actually get a shot away. That should have been in the back of the net. But some of them some of them pop in and some of them unfortunately just hit the post and bounce out.
Absolutely. And once again, just a huge comment and compliment to the coaches for trusting the goalkeepers that they pick. There's never been one clear goalkeeper. All the goalkeepers have been exposed to tournament time and making the changes just to ensure that the goalkeepers are tested. But here are South Africa coming again on another wave of attack, but the ball doesn't find the teammate. I think there's going to be another huge long ball here, either diagonal or down the line.
Puts it all the way into the corner, but Brooker is under it, and that man has been taking down some of these.
Look at that jab. Look at that
and
jab.
A ball into the middle here.
That's very good. Very good work to protect the ball there from Kenya's number 5, Samuel Boche.
I'm really enjoying the speed that these Kenyans are coming up at here, and little ball towards the inside, and another one just does not get onto a fellow white stick. Trying to protect the ball there, and
what can they get here? Umpire just shows for number 16. For how Kenya have played against South Africa, probably some of the spectators at home or the coaching staff are thinking, why didn't you play like this against Namibia? Surely that would have earned us a second spot and a sure qualification. But now Kenya have to play against Egypt, a rematch of the round robin format, and let's see who will take this clash. They should be sure not to overexert themselves in this game because they still have a huge challenge against the Egyptians tomorrow. But anyway, South Africa with the ball was shut in now, looking for that line ball. 1-2.
Inside out.
That's a great tackle there. Stand up, son. Be proud of yourself. Frederick Ochieng. He's got 1 goal in the tournament. He's also probably had a few disciplinary issues. Has 1 yellow card, but at least he's made up for it with 1 goal. Another huge overhead there by the Kenyan.
Now, Kenya definitely really putting on the pressure with these long balls, and this man on screen here, Jaden Brooker, has had to do a lot. He's taking the flicks, but he's also working really, really hard in defense here, because I can't imagine it being easy to keep these Kenyans out.
Absolutely, and I think this is probably, in terms of what we've seen, the most difficult game that South Africans have had to play so far. We're not sure if they're trying to just conserve their energy for the huge match against the Namibian team. But we definitely have to give credit to the Kenyans because they have been running non-stop, playing South Africa full court press. Look at that, 2-on-1 defending, not letting them breathe. Absolutely brilliant from the Kenyan team. And you win the ball.
That's beautiful, just that tag team tackling, you can almost call it, and in the end, I wanted to say these Kenyans are really impressing me tonight here, giving these South Africans a run for the money. But we have just under 8 minutes left, and it's nothing but short of a great last 8 minutes left here for us.
All right, Frederick Ochieng with the ball, rolls it over to his captain for the day. And patient build-up now. It looks like Gideon on the ball. A good touch there by Noel. What can they do? It gets a bit messy there. It's Hillary Kalimwa who was trying to win that ball, and they just couldn't come out around the D area. But Kenya have an opportunity to restart the play. They'll surely go around this one and attack the South African right side. Let's see what they can do.
Giving the ball all the way. They're looking for that long ball again, perhaps into the circle, to make it a little bit more, dangerous if something can happen there. But a wonderful tackle there.
Look at that. Good tackle by Ross Montgomery.
Very nice tackle there from South Africa, Ross Montgomery there.
However, Brian Indimula says, no thank you, I'll take that, and launches a huge overhead and just asks South Africa to try again. Dembaka. This is Matwele.
You can definitely hear the guys on the park now. South Africa just letting the ball roll over the baseline, if I'm correct there, and you can definitely hear the two teams on the park, getting rolled up. Just hearing, the tensions rising as we have 6.5 minutes to play, and another massive overhead gets called down early. Siyabonga Martins there from Namibia just calling it down early, that this Kenyan player was not within 5 of the South African defender under the ball there.
Yeah, once again, just good work there from the umpires, looking to protect the safety of the players. Shows the quality of the umpires we've had here, quality of umpires we have in Africa, and hopefully we can see a few of them at the bigger stage of the world.
Most definitely. I'm sure as a player, you want to reach the bigger stage, and so it is for umpire,
Good
South Africa with some good skill here.
That was a good elimination skill there by Pillay.
South Africa just looking to play it quick and then running past the baseline.
You could hear that frustration from the South African bench. Just an easy ball that rolls out, but nothing that the Kenyan outfit would actually be complaining about, because for them it's an opportunity to restart play and maybe keep that 1 point. It would be a huge result for this Kenyan team, by the way. 1-1 against the giants of African hockey. South Africa with a huge experience on their side. Let's see what Jamie Seale can do for the South Africans.
Yeah, South Africa also, it's not that it means anything to them, but for Kenya to even take a point out of this game, or, there's 5 minutes left to see something crazy come out of this game. Maybe Kenya taking the lead would definitely be one up for the Kenyans, but we do know that the South African outfit is as strong as can be, with them coming on a good attack in the far left-hand side corner.
Damian Knott with a huge ball. And speak of the devil, look at that. That was a deflection by Ross Montgomery, and it looks like it just trickles over the line. The players are asking for an issue there. They're saying wrong side of the stick. And let's just see. The umpires will be confirming. Umpire just chasing the players away. He wants to confirm with his co-umpire if he saw anything, and unfortunately the umpires can just call what they see. Let's look at this action here.
So I think the two umpires have spoken, and definitely a restart from the middle, which means a goal much needed by the men in green and gold this evening. And you can see the Kenya Ondijo there just feeling a little bit gutted on that one. He felt it hit the back of the stick. But as you said earlier on, it's up to the umpire, and the call has been made.
They can only call what they see. Kenya still with a lot of time to equalize again. 2-1 to South Africa. They are able now, as it stands, maintain their 100% record during this tournament. Huge overhead again. Jaden Brooker easily takes it down. Probably a lot less pressure now for the South Africans to get a winner. But the Kenyans will not let them have this easy. Westonga with a beautiful turn.
Yeah. They definitely won't back down for this one. I think it's just going to fuel them a little bit more to work back. And the ball going to the right-hand side for Kenya, looking for the crash ball and just getting the long corner there.
No. The umpire is actually signaling for dangerous play, and it is now a ball for the South Africans. Dembaka.
See the Kenyan gents just dropping all the way into their half now, letting the South African men just push them up a little bit. And let's see what will happen here with with Kenya laying back. Does South Africa just keep the ball all the way into the end of the game, or do you think they're going to look for one more?
Look, Dylan, we saw Egypt do that against Namibia when with about 8 minutes or so. Well, probably not 8 minutes, but with not too much time left in the game, they were just throwing the ball around, and Namibia hit them with 2 double quick punches.
So there's definitely a risk to take, and
there is a risk to take, because then you run out of time to respond to what your opponents can do. I mean, in the end, we'll just have to see. It depends on what the Kenyans can do here.
See what the possession looks like on the bottom left of the screen. You've got it pretty much tied up, 53% to 47. The penalty corners, South Africa 6, and the Kenyan men only 1 so far in this game.
Look, in the end, though, the South Africans have been unable to maximize or utilize the short corner advantage. But here, Kenya lead again with another break. Let's see what they can do. Offloads the ball to the general. That's a beautiful play out wide to the left-hand side of Kenya. Crash ball into the circle. What can they do with it? David Wasonga is Wasonga on the ball now. What can he do? Brooker, easy. This is now Jamie Steele.
Looking for the dangerous call there, but nothing as South Africa come away with the ball down the left-hand side, looking for the long ball up. But Tabang decides to run with it. He hasn't decided to let go of the ball yet, and that's
easy defending there.
Easy defending. You know, he's run past 3 or 4 players already. His fellow players should be feeling, you know, kind of let the ball go after passing one, but that's well done from Kenya again.
Well, look, I think he probably just ran out of ideas there, but when that happens, roll it off and think again. You know, it's not too much to just roll it and think again, try again. Ooh,
yeah,
that's
South
surely
African
a Kenyan
touch.
ball there.
Kenyan
Surely a
ball.
Kenyan ball. What can they do? With just over 1 minute left to go in this final quarter of the game. Oh, good
And
3D
he's just put it on the
skills
foot there.
Easy. Good composure. The Kenyan boys need to keep their heads here now. Last few minutes of, last 1 minute and 20 seconds. Good skill again.
Just calling there for the, you know, stick hack, but umpire not too phased and just giving the free hit to Kenya.
Noel Lormotun drops it to Vincent Wesonga. Shifted to the right-hand side for the Kenyans. What can they do with this ball? That's brilliant
Kenya's
play.
coming with some wonderful hands up here, and South Africa just closing them down quite easily. Looking for that big ball up front.
Absolutely.
Some work for the
Brett
striker
Horn.
to do here.
Breton just dumps that ball to Jay Tabang. And I think the umpire may have called either stick obstruction or maybe play obstruction, not sure. But Kenya with an opportunity with the last 35 seconds of this game to maybe have upset of the tournament. Can they grab an equalizer here at the Junior Africa Cup live on NBC from the Dave and Trusco hockey fields? Let's see what can happen here. 20 seconds left. They're really taking their time, though. They're taking their time, these Kenyans. They're probably going to throw a huge one here. Crash ball in.
Goes for the big ball in.
Miss hit.
And South Africa come away with the ball to take it in the last 5 seconds. A well-fought match here from the Kenyans, but South Africa take the win.
Oh, what a game that was. A result that Kenya should be proud of. And once again, the people at home who support Kenya, those who are here, will probably be asking, where was this performance against Namibia? Where was it against Egypt? I mean, Kenya drew 0-0 against Zimbabwe, I believe. We probably have to check those scores. You know, they'll probably be saying, if we just showed up on the day, we could have had a sure ticket. But now we have to fight it off tomorrow.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, they say it's not how you start, it's how you finish. But in this case, like you're saying, if they could take 1 or 2 points from the games early on in the tournament, they would definitely be in the pound seat now, because then they'd have the easier game tomorrow. But, you know, the guys rest over the evening, and tomorrow, big game coming up.
Absolutely,
for all
and
four teams.
not really nice to see here. Looks like some commotion going on. We hope that it's nothing serious. The players probably, I don't know if there's some jokes, but there looks to be some finger pointing and maybe a player not happy with what had happened.
Yeah, not wanting to greet each other, and just it's not nice to see after the game. But you know, that is what happens, and it's just good to have seen that the game ended up clean. You know, only 2 cards in the game, but here are some highlights of the wonderful opportunity created here.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately.
Look at that, off the post, and you can see what it means to Neuhoff. Look, Dylan, to be fair, we also have to pay huge respect to the Kenyan goalkeeper, Arnold Nyakango, who made sure that he kept his team in the fight till the very end. He was unfortunate not to save that stroke, but he really was part of the reason why the scoreline is as it is. What do you think of his performance in the first half?
100% have to agree with you. In the first half, you know, kept his team in the game, and like you said, just unfortunate he had missed that P flick. But true gentleman and true soldier, throughout the day. He's been a real asset to his team, and I think that gives the team a little bit of a pump, to carry on going hard when your goalkeeper's kind of saving it at the back there.
Absolutely. And we'd like to thank all the viewers who have joined us for this final game of match day 5 of the tournament here at the Junior Africa Cup from the Dave and Trusco hockey fields on NBC Sport. Just look at these statistics for this game. Nothing in it, and once again, it's reflected by the scoreline. 2-1 to the South Africans. They took it with a scrappy goal, but they wanted it more. The circle penetrations from South Africa, 22 compared to 8 of Kenya. However, not too much in it in terms of the shots at goal. 4 for Kenya, 7 for South Africa. But the thing that counts, Dylan, what is it that counts?
In the end, it's the goals that count.
The goals count, and here South Africa were just a bit more dominant than the Kenyan outfit. But a huge performance there from the Kenyan outfit. They should be proud of themselves, and they will definitely want to bring this as well for tomorrow.
Most definitely, and this is one to take through to tomorrow. The Kenyan goalkeeper, Arnold Nyakango, getting player of the match for his well-deserved game here versus South Africa tonight.
Absolutely. Look, and not taking anything away from the South African players, I think we knew what to expect. Maybe we expected a little bit more, but in the end we just felt,
most definitely.
That the Kenyans really brought it here. And that is the final standings at the end of match day 5 for this tournament. South Africa clear ahead of this tournament with 15 points, a goal difference of 29, having conceded here against Kenya. Namibia second with 12 points, goal difference of 6. Then Egypt in third. Kenya close it off with 5 points. And what this means is Namibia and South Africa have definitely secured their ticket to the Junior World Cup in India. But Kenya and Egypt have to play it out in the third and fourth for that final ticket. Who do you think is going to take it, Dylan?
Sure, I would like to back the Kenyans after today's game. It would look good for them to have gone down tonight, but take it through tomorrow. But hey, the Ghanaians the Egyptians are a tough outfit to beat.
Absolutely, and what you can see on your screen here, just the results for the day. And if you've missed any of the results for today, or if you wanted to see your brother, sister, uncle, or even cousin play, you can catch all the action on NBC's YouTube channel at NBC Sport NA, where you can catch all the action that you had throughout the course of the tournament. The scores for today: Zambia edged out 2-1 against Uganda. That was a thrilling finish to the game. It was 2-1 for quite a long time in that game. Zimbabwe, also a last-minute finish there. Hosni from Egypt at the last-minute short corner win there. Zimbabwe, comfortable win over Kenya. Namibia losing to South Africa. Then the men's team had some revenge for their women's side. And look at that final finish there. Who would have thought? Who would have thunk? Who would have thinked that? Kenya versus South Africa, 2-1 only. I think the Kenyans should be proud of themselves.
Most definitely. I would give them a round of applause as well, and I do think that they are ready for tomorrow with their performance today.
Okay, so just for any of the spectators who are still watching, please catch us again tomorrow live for the third, fourth playoffs, as well as the first and second playoffs between the men and women teams. South Africa will play against Namibia in both the men and women. And Uganda will play against Zimbabwe in the women, and then Kenya against Egypt. That is really a clash to look out for, because that is really where the value is. Namibia and South Africa probably bragging, right? But really, the value of the ticket is that third and fourth playoff, and that's where all the action will be, Dylan.
100%, definitely. Going into third and fourth, there's only one way, and that's a win. The guys playing the final both know they go through, but third and fourth playoff tomorrow is going to be a banger.
Absolutely. So thank you for joining us. We will now sign off. My name is Pendapala Namjeba, my co-commentator.
My name is Dylan Finch, and thank you all for watching. Have a lovely evening.